Today, we are joined by somebody I am personally so excited to be seeing again. It's been over 5 years, and she is such a sweetheart. I personally know her as a joker and a voice that she could beat competition, your angels, friends. Wango can sing, guys. That's how I know her. But over the years, she's also been practicing psychology. And as we're having a conversation, it's either because we've not seen each other in a while or because you are now fully into psychology. You know, you talk to somebody and you want to bear yourself bare before them and tell them, so this is what's going on with me. I am happy on these days, and that's the kind of vibe I was getting. So psychology 100. And I say that because I know nowadays so many people are rather focusing on, when I want to find a therapist or a psychologist, I need to feel safe around them.
Yeah.
So, honey, you feel safe. You feel safe. You do feel safe. And that is our guest today. If you're waiting for an introduction, that was my entire introduction on her, but she'll give us more details about it. So welcome to the final episode for season 1 of If That Makes Sense, where we're talking about friendship. And I really wanted us to get a specialist's point of view, because we've talked about various aspects of friendship. There is friendship with your friends, of course, friendship with your friends, friendship with your parent, friendship maybe with your sibling, a friendship that you lost either because you fell out, friendships with somebody who ended up dying, which is really, really hard. So I thought, why don't we just have a whole conversation about that, but in a psychological point of view. I know we've talked a lot about therapy, especially for the last 2 areas where you fell out with somebody or this person died. So why not start here, get to hear what a professional's opinion is of it, and it's gonna be an amazing conversation. I'm 100% sure about that. So, Wango, carry to the podcast.
I'm so sorry, I'm screaming like a girl. Thank you.
Are you not a girl?
I am, but unajua kuna ile ya. Anyway,
Hi, how are you?
Great.
I'm really excited that you're here. I really am.
I can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. You guys can tell. So tell us.
I'm excited to be here.
If you were asked in front of a panel of like, whose is whose? Who is whose? Who is Sheila Wango? What would you say?
Well, do you know, I struggle introducing myself. I don't know whether it's because I'm a psychologist or I'm an introvert or all the above. Maybe I'm an introvert. Make no mistake.
Right.
I am. Some people know me as that. So my name is Sheila Wango, like you said. I am a psychologist. When we met, I was even a psychologist then, but I was starting out.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm somewhere.
Yeah.
Among many things, I am a wife, I am a mom, I am a daughter, I am a friend. I have lost friends.
Yeah.
I think it's the circle of life, but we'll get into that. And I love life. I love God. I love music. I love books. Hey, I love many things, but wacha tuachie hapo.
You are full of love.
And I am full of love and full of life and all good vibes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll get right into it, because I know I've talked to you about the fact that we've been covering friendship, and maybe let's start from your point of view. You've said you've lost friends and you've gained friends, I'm sure, over the years. So do you think friendship, or rather, is it possible to live life with only acquaintances, not friends?
That's a difficult question. Yes, to some extent, no. Because, you know, acquaintances are just people you meet circumstantially, if that makes sense. They're there for a short time and then you move on. So there's some people I have met personally, they just have acquaintances, period. Only. But now the acquaintances are in different circles. There's the work, there's social events, there's family, friends, such meaning. But in the long run, you know, you need somebody who will be there. Kriso unajua napitia ama Kriso kuja graduation graduation, see what I did. Anyway,
I do.
So yeah, you can, but it can be boring. But for a person who does not like change, they have very many acquaintances, because also making friends, you know, it's a whole process of bearing yourself, getting uncomfortable, getting to meet a new person, trying to feel their vibe around you, and vice versa. So yeah, it can happen.
It can. Have you met people who fully like, they didn't just start off with acquaintances, but they started off and continued with just acquaintances?
Not that many, but yeah, there are a few.
Okay.
Some of the reasons that they give is, one, I've given you one, some people don't like change. They don't like this whole process of starting afresh or getting too deep.
Yeah.
They just want to be known at upper face value level, and that's it.
Yeah. And is it also possible, because friendships are relationships like any other, you also have to compromise? So when you say change, I'm thinking, is it possible that there are people who that whole compromising aspect is just not it for them?
Yes, it's true. It's not it for them. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't really call it compromise, but getting uncomfortable, being, some friendships can really test you, and some friendships can really even make you ask yourself, who really am I? Was I right or wrong in this situation? They can really make you examine yourself. So there's some people who are just being comfortable with how they are. They don't want to go through that uncomfortable phase. So they try maintain, even if it's like casual, superficial relationships or their acquaintances, they'll maintain as many, even millions. But if you ask them, they're real close friends,
they don't have any.
They don't have, or they have one or two. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned one or two, but let's first start with, what are the categories of friendship? Which ones do you know or think are the categories in which friends are?
Okay, so there's a lot out there about friendship, but there's something I came across this week. I'm trying to remember the exact order, but I'll paraphrase. So there are casual friendships, and I mentioned a few you meet at work, at school, in campus, high school, blah, blah, blah. But then there are some that graduate. There's some that still stay there, and then some graduate to now a much more close-knit relationship. This is a person who you've not reached the level of telling them your secrets, but you're comfortable around them, hanging around them, even if it's in silence. You have the same interests, you have the same goals, you like the same things sometimes, you dislike the same things sometimes. But then the last category, which is common, is now that close friend, or what people still call BFF. I don't know whether they still call that, I don't know. I'm old school, I'm so sorry. But especially in my time growing up, that is what you'd call a best friend.
Yeah, BFF. Yeah.
Your best friend is a person who knows all your secrets. They even come to your house, you go to their house, their parents know you, you know them. You're very tight. They almost feel like a sibling, but they are not. That's another category. But in addition to those three, there's the casual friendships, there is the close friendships, there's also family friends, that's also a category of friends. And then there's just circumstantial friendships. You just meet, have a good time, see you later. Let's meet again, if at all. Yeah. Let's meet again in a month or in a year, or if you meet again, you'll pick up from where you left off. Oh, let's go out, let's do this. So that's could also be a category of friendship.
Okay. Yeah. You've mentioned also, like, for close friends, it's people who even your parents know your friends.
Ideally.
Ideally, yes. That's where I was headed, actually. I know back then, because some of us are old, but back then, there was a lot of emphasis on your friends, on your parents knowing your friends.
Yes.
Nowadays, I don't see that emphasis as much. Like, you just mention the friend. What do you think has changed in life nowadays that's causing that?
Wow. Let me borrow the term data protection.
Okay.
And explain it in the friendship context. You see how with the data protection law, if you're familiar with it, you're bound to some certain kind of things cannot be shared without your permission. So I feel that has also transferred into friendship. Nowadays, people don't want to do the work of, Crystal, come, I show you my mom, or let's go say hi to my mom, and then it will be reversed. Or when you go home, your parent is asking you, oh, your friend, bring them over. Let's have lunch, let's have coffee, let's have tea, let's have ice cream, coffee, tea. Anyway, let's do something. Let me even take you girls out. People don't really put in that work anymore. One, maybe because they are afraid. You know, nowadays people are a bit too careful. And that fear sometimes can make you be closed off. But secondly, I think also with the changing times, it's not as emphasized anymore. It's seen as, like you termed it, old school. This is something our Azazis used to do.
And we don't have to.
And we don't have to. Mom, you're getting into my business, or why do you want to know my friends? You know, some people also feel like you're getting too much into my space.
Yeah.
So if you have that, say you have 3 kids, your firstborn tells you that, you might not do it to your second and thirdborn, because you've already been told,
this is
leave
my
me
space.
alone. This is my space. These are my people. Me, I don't come asking you about your people. Me, I don't want to see them, you know. So there's also that, there's no reciprocity anymore. Before, if you have a relationship, especially with your parent, they'll know your friends and vice versa.
Yeah.
But now, everybody wants their own privacy and their own, which you have to respect, but it can, the advantage of that, one of the advantages I found about that is I know if I cannot get Christine, I'll be able to call her mom and say, by the way, I'm looking for Christine. And we are not doing something bad.
Yes.
And we are not doing something wrong. It's just that I want to talk to her, you know, just something. I would find a way to talk to your parent without necessarily asking for your permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm also thinking, maybe also because nowadays people are forming friends, especially really close friends in uni.
Yeah.
And most of the time when we're in uni, there are people coming from all over the country. So we're in the hostels together all the time. By the time I tell you to come to Nyahururu to see my mom,
That's far.
you know?
Also, because you've mentioned people are coming from all over, people's cultures are also different. So there are some people, their culture demands, I must know who you're associating with. Not just as a safety measure, but because it is required culturally. But there are some people where you start getting in deep into their lives, they'll start wondering who has sent you, what do you want, what's your goal, you know, that kind of thing. Not to be paranoid or anything, but you also have to understand people are different. So with that appreciation over time, that has come up less and less. So you'll find such sad cases of Christine went out with, I'm using you as an example because you're here.
I'm right here.
Christine went out with so-and-so, and the mother is being asked, alienda na nani? I don't know. Hata simjui.
Yeah, ni rafiki yake tu.
Ni rafiki yake tu mugani.
I don't
Niliambiwa ni rafiki, so it just ends there.
Yeah. And you're right, because unfortunately, let's even use something that's been happening a lot, the femicide cases in the country, you know, and there's so many gaps, but when you ask either the family or the friend or even the sisters, who was she out with?
They don't know.
So you don't even know where to start tracking this person from, which is so unfortunate, because that would help a lot with solving cases.
And not just knowing friends because something bad has happened. No, even, you know, your friends are the ones who show up for you even for your occasions. So it's good to know each other.
Maybe you want to plan a surprise.
Maybe you want to surprise. You. Now, if I don't know your friends and I want to surprise you.
It's just me. I'm the surprise.
And now you're the surprise.
Yeah. Now that we've talked about, like, on average, people can have really close friends.
Yeah.
On average, how many close friends would you say are manageable? Like when someone says close friends, and we're talking bosom buddies, like people who know you inside out, how many would you say are manageable for a human being? On average, like the number that comes to your mind, and why that number?
I'm sure your comment section will be fire.
Their fingers are like this.
Let me start by saying manageable is relative.
Okay.
To some people, manageable is 20.
That's not
to some people.
Okay.
That's why I said relative. We listen.
We do not judge.
Exactly. But if you ask me, to be very honest, 5 is enough.
Okay.
Just 5.
Why?
Because these are people, you know, you can, 5, first of all, you have 5 fingers. So 5 is the basic everything.
Philosophy.
But also, come what may, you just need 5 people, to be very honest, according to me.
Okay.
Growing up, this head of mine has a lot of numbers stored. Let me start there. Yeah. But the first 5 were family. And in my mind, if anything should happen, ata nikienda wapi, I have 5 numbers in my head, minimum. So I took that principle even with friendships. I should have at least 5 people who know my whereabouts, who know what I do, where I go. Not that I'm updating them every time, but also for very many reasons. Could be for accountability, if it's at work, or growth. It could be for, this is a person I'm sharing with. It could be for various reasons. You need at least 5 people.
Okay.
And not family, not cousins, no, just 5 strangers.
I was actually heading there. Because 5, you're married,
Yes.
is your husband part of the 5?
Yes. He's
Okay.
number 1.
All right. Okay. So
Yeah.
that includes, are sisters part of the 5?
They can be, but people's dynamics with
Their
siblings are
siblings, yeah.
different.
But if your siblings are your friends, they can be part of the 5.
Yes, they can be part of the 5.
Okay. Are your parents? Can your parents be part of the 5?
If you have a good relationship.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So for example, just for example, I'm not saying these are my 5.
Yeah.
But for example, my husband.
These are her 5.
No, they're not.
You already started with your husband.
They can be part of, but in no particular order.
Okay.
5 is minimum.
Yeah.
You can have 10, you can have 20, depending on what you can manage. There's some people who manage with just 1.
Yeah.
So I think to better answer that question, at the end of the day, ask yourself, what am I comfortable with? Am I comfortable with this one person? And this is what Kitambo, I don't know whether it's there anymore, this is who used to be your emergency contact. You go into school, you fill some forms. There's some forms that are 3 names, 5 names, 10 names, like that. So my 5, for example, my husband, my mom, my cousin, because my sister is in school, primary, my grandmother. And now the 5th is flexible.
Okay. Yeah, depending on what the
situation is.
Yeah.
But you see, they're the constant ones. So for you, who is your constant? Also, what is your relationship with them? Because there are some people, unfortunately, they don't have such a good relationship with their siblings or the extended family, or they are trying to work through some friendships.
Yeah.
So as long as you have that one constant person who is there, not some imagination made up,
a physical
person who can be tracked or whatever, come what may, you're good.
Yeah. That's got me thinking. I think I have my 5 people. 1 being Tamara, my sister. 2, Lucky, who is also literally my sister. My mom and dad. I think 5 is also a bit flexible. But interestingly, if I was to write emergency contacts, Tamara would not feature anywhere. Because Tamara would not pick the call, first of all. So I could be, I don't know, I could be broke and loan sharks have come. They will call her and they'll be like, bruh, she didn't pick up.
Yeah.
Tamara, do better, please. And it's just because she doesn't pick calls. That's it. Now, those are friends that are doing really well.
Yes.
Let's talk about friendship breakups. In your opinion, what leads to friendships breaking up a lot these days? Like, I don't know about Kitambo, but these days, from what you've heard, from what you've seen, what are at least like 2 things you think are the leading causes of friendship breakups?
I won't focus so much on these days because I think something you have to appreciate with time seems different, but really it's not. Okay. If you look at things, I was telling you earlier, I was having this conversation with my mom. Hi, mother. Because I know she'll see this. Yeah. I was having this conversation with her, and some of the things she was telling me happened to me. And I'm very sure if I was to have the same conversation with my cousin or somebody else, it's the same
thing, yeah.
So the number 1 cause of friendship breakup is your interests fade. At some point, we were friends because of school. In my case, for example, if I could give an example of myself and many others, there's some friends I was with in high school because we were in a certain space together for an extended period of time. Yeah. The only time we were not in each other's space is when we have holidays. Actually, just that, holiday time. So you see in boarding school, you're seeing each other Sunday to Sunday. You're in the same classes or similar class. If you're not in the same class, you're in the same dorm. If you're not in the same dorm, you're in the same spot. There's always a similarity. So when that is cut off, naturally, the nature takes its course. It just fades away. Secondly, tied to interest is, they say out of sight?
Out of mind.
Out of mind. So the further away you move from your group, somehow your friendship fades away. I didn't grow up in Nairobi. I grew up elsewhere. But the friends that I had then, very few of them to date, I have maintained those friendships. Because you see, I've moved with time. You move because of school, work, etc. Out of sight, out of mind, that is also a thing that breaks friendship. The other common one that I've seen is if something happens and, say, for example, I share something with you and I hear it from somebody else. Betrayal. But I'll put it as breaking confidentiality. You know, as a friend, there's some things that I'll expect just to hear with you from you. But if I hear it from somebody else, and now I come to find out ni wewe pengine ulishare ama mtu overhear, you know, that kind of thing. If I feel my trust has been broken, if I feel I'm being judged, these are also other reasons, but I'm mixing them. If I feel judged, if I feel my trust has been broken, or if I tell you something so deep and then I hear it as hot news elsewhere, that will cause our friendship to die, among many other things. But those are the ones that are common. But the most common one for me is time and distance. If whatever was bringing us together is no longer there, our friendship will die somehow. It's sad, but
it happens.
It happens, yeah.
But wouldn't you say then, what's the role of putting in the work for it? Because if like my friend leaves and goes to a different country, communication has grown so much. Like we can still talk, we can still have conversations.
We can still talk, we can still chat, but you said it's not the same. It's true, but also, you know, as human beings, when we go somewhere strange, you like to own that space. And that applies to friendship. You go to, I'll use a school setting because that is common to everybody. You go to school, you want to leave your mark somehow. You want to feel comfortable. And that is why we struggle as first years, especially, or form ones, or if you've been transferred to a new school. It's because you've been taken out of your comfort zone. Whatever you knew, whatever felt familiar to you is no longer there. So you forming friendships is a way to settle you and make you feel like home. So if you remove that, and then you're telling me we tried to talk through a screen, it won't be the same.
Yeah, because physically I'm in a whole different
Physically, I'm not seeing you. I'm seeing you, but I'm not seeing you. It's not the same. You get, and it's not. Maybe in future we'll have holograms of a person. It will make it easier. I don't know, but it's still not the same. There's still that. As human beings, we like that connection, human to human connection. I still want to touch you like this. That is what I feel makes a full difference.
And what effects, or what effects have you seen when people break up with their friends? Because I know lately I've heard a lot about how breaking up with a friend sometimes is even more painful than breaking up with a lover. Relationship, because this is someone who was so deep in your life. Maybe one thing that you've seen has been an effect to somebody who broke up with a friend of theirs.
They shut off. Emotionally, they become withdrawn. So especially if it's a person who we call them feelers, they're more empathetic. If it's a person who really invested a lot in that friendship and that suddenly has been taken away from them, it's almost like they're mourning it. So they even withdraw. If they were outgoing, they become silent, they stop going out. Some even go to a very big extent of neglecting themselves, being depressed, and also emotionally. I think this is where most people fall. Emotionally, they decide, I'm no longer going to put on the work. And that is why it will come back to your first question of acquaintances. I have very many situational friendships. If I go there, everybody knows Christine. But if you ask, by the way, who is Christine's friend? Nobody knows.
There are no roots.
But you see, you're known. So you feel maybe some people, they were either hurt by something, they had a bad fallout or whatever, or this person sadly passed on, or they moved away. There's some people who take it so much, they decide, me, I'm never going to again. You know, these statements of me, I will never. And then you put on, nijikute. And then you put a wall, up a wall, and that wall becomes impenetrable, such that now you can't form any other social friendships. That's... It's sad, but it happens, and there are very many people out there.
And you've highlighted something that was going to be the next question on the effect on people who now lose friends to death. So it's not somebody who you know you just broke it off, but you still see them on Instagram or on TikTok or anything. This is somebody who died.
Physically, they're not there anymore.
Yeah, they're not there anymore. I can imagine how tough that becomes.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And what would you say would be at least a few ways people who have gone through that can cope, aside from therapy? Because we've talked about therapy, like talking through it. But what's maybe one other way you think someone can cope to losing a friend?
I wouldn't 100% say this is the one at in a book, but I find that reliving those memories can be comforting.
Okay.
It can, in a certain extent, help you cope better. Because you see, if my friend passes away and the last memory I have of them is us having a disagreement, of course I'll have a harder time compared to a person who my friend has passed away and the last memory I have of them were we went somewhere on a safari or we did something fun together. I'll always be thinking of this person and remembering their smile or their laughter or that fun thing that we did. But now for the person who the friend has passed away and we didn't reconcile, maybe it's deep, but you can write an open letter to them. Dear so-and-so, I am sorry for whatever content you want to put there. Just bare your heart and soul, cry if you must, do everything. And after that, just you can either burn it or keep it. And if you keep it, maybe you can decide to be reading it every anniversary of their death or their birthday or something, just to honor their memory. And this can also work for a person who, this was your best friend and you had many good times. Just write an open letter to them. And after that, you write that letter, you can decide what to do with it. You can also go give it to their family, for example. You can try keep in touch with their family just to... and it can be painful, so you have to be really careful with that. You can try to also carry on their legacy. So if they were, for example, passionate about the environment, you can be planting a tree every birthday date in honor of their memory. So just try do something that will help you feel better, but also being careful not to also re-hurt, for lack of a better word, re-hurt yourself because this person has died.
Because sometimes some of the things you've mentioned could end up doing the inverse, where now you're always feeling empty. So you're going to
feeling hurt, you're feeling guilty, and it could hurt you even more, even as the years go by. So you have to be careful with that. But also, again, because we're talking about friends, have friends who understand that situation. So that now, for example, either on the anniversary of their death or their birthday, because those are two dates that are constant, you have people around you who know, hey, at this date I have to be with Christine. It's tough for her. She's going, this is a tough season for her. Even if I'll just be with you and we sit down and we're in each other's space and we're not talking, at least I'm there for you and you'll feel a little bit comforted. So also have friends around you who understand if a particular season is not easy for me, just be there. Even if you do nothing, it's fine. But I just want you to be there for me because I'm going through something.
Well, thank you for that. And I think those are also very practical ways, because I feel like therapy works for very many people. But what happens on the D-Day? Say you didn't have, you can't be with your therapist the whole day of their anniversary or the whole day of,
or you can't meet with them that day for whatever reason.
But that makes such perfect sense. Let's move into male and female friendships. It's something we wanted to have a conversation with, but I wanted to structure it a bit better, so we still will. But is the formation of a male-female friendship different, or the gradual growth of it different as compared to a female-female and male-male friendship, in your opinion, or is it the same?
This question is sound biased because I'm a female. But I had a discussion with my husband at the same. Hi, babe.
Husband.
First of all, he's my friend. So let us start there. So when we were discussing this, I tried picking his mind around it, and I know he doesn't speak for all men, but him being a man, he gave me some insights that I found very interesting. You know, I don't know if I've diverted from the question, but anyway, let me just
carry on.
When girls are forming friendships, it seems more natural, and to some extent, it can seem very superficial in this sense. This is the insight that he gave me, which I found makes sense. In this sense, when you tell me that you're going through something, out of the, say, 10 friends you have, you find 2 will show up, 2 female friends, and they'll show up for you, like really show up, support you, do what do you need, really be your rock. But for male friends, I was made to understand that when a man shows up for his fellow man, this is a person who has taken the time to invest in this friendship, but also this is a person who understands that this is something that I want to carry on. And most of the time when men show up for each other, it is for the long run. Girls, we are there for the fun, apparently. But if you look at it, it kind of makes sense.
It does. It actually
Girls are there
does.
for the fun, but men are there for, I lost my house, or I lost my job, or I'm feeling depressed, I'm going through depression, or I'm sick, my family member is sick. So they're there for the deep stuff. It challenged me also to look at my friendships, because if men are like that, I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying common. What kind of friend am I? Am I the one for the fun times, good vibes, yeah? Or will it be somebody can come and tell me, by the way, Wango, I'm going through, or I am feeling, or I am doing, or I need your help in, and not help at nikusaidia na 50 bob hapana. Can I, am I there? Am I giving my time? Am I investing in it? Am I learning more about this person? I think that is the key difference between men and women. For women, sometimes we are just there for the fun of it.
Good time.
We don't really take time to know this person. And if we do, unfortunately, there's a goal. I am getting to know Christine because I want to appear on her podcast. I'm getting to know her because I want her contacts on Instagram. I don't want to know her for her. Like, what are your strengths? What is your future? What are the things that keep you up at night? What motivates you? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? Most of the times we girls don't do that, and it's sad. We will compliment each other and say, hey, you look good, so your hair is thriving, but I'll not come and ask you, how are you spiritually? How are you feeling? What are your inner feelings? What is something that you feel that me as your friend, I can help you overcome? Or where do you want me to support you? I don't have to support you financially. I may not even have the capacity to do that. But I can tell you one word and that will motivate you. That will make you a better friend. And vice versa. You have to keep each other accountable. Men do that. And that is why sometimes men have very few friendships, but they have friendships that matter, friendships that count. As women, we can have 100 friends,
but not all of them count.
And I'll say, hey, my girl for hanging out, my girl for this and that. But this person who you can have really deep, meaningful, not superficial, then you go down deep. There are very few. That for me is the key difference.
Wow. You've said that and I've thought to myself, that's a truth we don't talk about as much, like the other side of female friendship, because it's easy to assume that girls are just loving and happy, and we really are. But that's something you said that makes so much sense. I've even tried to evaluate some of the friends I have in my life, and the truth is, I don't know if we know each other that well, but we are friends,
Yeah, we are friends.
If somebody looks at us, they think we are awesome buddies. But the truth is, do they know the core of who I am? And it's interesting to see that dynamic with guys. So now let's talk about male and female towards each other. So a guy and a girl. Do you think, first of all, do you think it is possible for guys and girls, a guy and a girl, to be purely friends and it's never at any point attempted to become something more? And do you think the progression into a deeper, closer friendship is the same as same-sex relationships?
Okay, before I answer that question, I've forgotten a point I wanted to say. When it comes to same-sex relationships, friendships, not relationships, like male, female, for it to have meaning, or for you to feel fulfilled out of that friendship, you also have to allow yourself to be part of that process. So if you find, for example, me as Wango, I come ask you deep questions, allow me to ask you deep questions, and also allow yourself to answer those questions first to yourself before you share to me. That way, our bond will become tighter. Because I also feel like people sometimes go for superficial things. So you expect superficial things, so even you give superficial things. But if you find a person who wants to go deeper, just allow yourself to be part of that process. Now, coming back to your question, yes, it is possible for a man and a woman to be just friends, but there has to be 4 key things, if I can call it that way. Number 1, I have to establish trust with this person. I need to trust you for you to be my friend. I need to trust that first I'm safe with you, like wherever we go, if you're going. But I also need to trust that whatever I tell you, you will keep it as my friend. Number 2, I need to trust myself around you, like I feel safe. You know, there's some people who you come to and you naturally feel at home.
Yeah.
I need to be able to have that in a guy for us to be friends. And feeling safe is not that there's anything I'm getting out of it, sexual or otherwise. No, it's just me being comfortable around you. Secondly, I need to have the same interests and beliefs as you. If I can find out in a guy,
good to go.
awesome. If I can't, it's also like with a girl, before I become friends with a girl, I'll also ask myself, what do we have in common?
Yeah.
Do we have common beliefs? Do we have common interests? So if I can find the same principles in a guy, why not? Also, I need to be able to know that I'm getting into this friendship to be your friend. There is no hidden agenda, no strings
attached. This is not the first step in a grander plan.
No, there is no my goal is to use you for your contacts. No, I just want to be your friend. If both of you can be completely honest with each other while you're being friends, why not? Yeah. It can work. But most people, where they have it wrong is there's usually either a hidden agenda that cannot even come out, even it can come out 10 years to come. Or this person, you don't feel safe around them, or you don't trust them, or you feel judged by them. If all those things, you can settle all those things. A man and a woman can be friends, guaranteed. No strings attached, nothing. There's no even hint at these two are dating. No, you can be just plain old good friends.
Yeah. The reason we made sure that question was there is because it's difficult, or rather I find it difficult for people to accept that you and somebody are as close as you are and nothing ever happened, or none of you ever thought of something happening. And especially in a generation where we are becoming really tight friends with people of the opposite sex. I think there's a graduation party I went to, and one of her closest friends is a guy, and it was actually the parents who are perpetuating the idea that maybe they're together. And that's what got me thinking, is it just difficult for even our parents to just know, oh yeah, Chriso and Fred are literally just friends and there's nothing
you also have to appreciate the generation of our parents. I say this with a lot of respect. Please do not misquote me or judge me in the comments. Our parents' generation and the parents before them believed that when a man and a woman are friends, there is something going on.
Yeah, they're heading. It's the first step.
It's the first step to marriage. Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You should be a friend to your spouse.
Yeah, that's actually how it should start.
That is how it should start, and that is what should maintain. It even makes the love go deeper, but that's not the conversation of today. But you see, changing that mindset from a whole generation is hard. Yeah. So the best you can do is us now who are bringing up our children, we can let them know, baby, if you have a friend, if it's a boy, it's fine. Yeah. If it's a girl and say you're raising a boy, it's fine. You two can be friends without any hidden agenda. Yeah. It is completely possible as long as the two of you are honest with the why. Yeah.
Yeah. We've talked kidogo about parents, so let's dive into the parent-child friendship, and this will probably be the last question. Okay. Do you think a parent can be a child's best friend? Can your parent be your best friend? If yes, how does that work? And if no, or if yes, is there extra work that needs to be done to manage that? And if no, why can't they be your best friend?
I'll start with the one that is easier. The no is easier, trust me. For some parents, they feel that I cannot be friends with my child because they'll always see them as my child. Even when they are 50 years old, this is my baby. So they either don't put in the effort, or they find it hard to accept that this is a person that you can grow to have life with as a friend. For various reasons. It could be cultural, it could be religious for some people, it could be regional. People are different. That's the no. And also, there are some people who feel that if I am friends with my child, tutazoeana. What is that in English?
We will get used to one another.
That's direct translation. Zoeana in this context is we will not have that respect, we will not have those boundaries, we will not... you'll not see me as your parent.
Your kid will start overstepping.
Yes, overstepping. Thank you very much. Yes, the kid will start overstepping or the child will start overstepping. So instead of feeling that discomfort, they maintain us. I am your mother, you're my child.
I am the authority.
I am the authority, you are the authorizer.
The authorized.
Or the authorized, yes. I am the authorizer, you are the authorized. Yes. I am the king, you are the subject. You know, that kind of, almost like militaries. Soldier and captain, that kind of meaning. There's no friendliness, there's no... And I think I've actually had it from a parent before. If I'm friends with my child, there will be no more respect. And that is such a sad statement, because now coming to the advantages, I feel like why a parent-child relationship could work is if you set boundaries earlier on. First of all, let me backtrack a bit. You have to start early. Having a friendship with your child is not something that grows overnight. It's not something that can happen within a day. It can even take years. And expecting it to suddenly being boys with your mom or dad, hey, it's not possible.
Hard.
Now that you have started early, you'll also form boundaries as early as you can, as early as you start. And these boundaries will go changing over time. So for example, when your child is under 10, they know mom, dad is strict, but mom, dad can also comfort me. I can't talk back to my mom, dad. This is under 10. Then growing into teenage, it will move from mom, dad, I can't talk back to I'm having trouble focusing on my studies, to I am feeling hormones, to my body is changing, to I have pimples, I don't like my body, I don't like how I look, I don't like. You know, there's a lot of second guessing. And I can be able to come to my parent and tell them, how are you when you are my age, what were you feeling, what I'm feeling? You know, that I'm still respecting them, but you see that has graduated from... You can't have such deep conversations then, because if you have such a conversation with a 10-year-old, it might not resonate as much as a 16-year-old, where you're at the peak of almost everything. Then you come to your early 20s, you're in campus or almost finishing most of the time, and you're trying to understand life. You've turned 18, you've gotten your ID, you're legal now. So you're feeling some freedom, but you're also feeling a bit rebellious and a bit dangerous. So you want your parents to guide you on, yes, you're an adult, you're a pre-adult, but also don't be careless. So you see the boundaries again have changed to, I can be able to guide you from my experience. At the end of the day, it's your decision, but I want to trust that I will help you make the right decision without constantly putting you down or bashing you. When you come to your mid-20s, depending on the course, maybe you finished, if it's a long course like medicine or whatever, you've just finished, or you're in your first job, or you're trying to figure out jobs. Maybe you're still having like an internship that is still somehow working, somehow not, or you've gotten a job and you've gotten some money. Now, how do I start living life as an adult? If you're going... I'll say this dangerously. This is the time you'll start clubbing, because most clubs now will allow you in, and you have money, you're young, you're carefree, you don't have responsibilities most of the time, so you want to explore. So your parent again plays the role of a guide. Should I say guider? That sounds wrong. A person who guides you into, yes, you have the money, but do something better with your money. Start saving now. Start thinking about, retirement. Ideally, you shouldn't think about it when you're 55. When you're retiring at 60, you should start planning early. Have some investments. Start planning your life without also missing out on life. So you see, again, the boundaries have shifted. And that is how ideally you should progress, even to your 30s, 40s, 50s, up to whatever age God gives you. So why a friendship with a parent would work, you see, a parent has lived through all of that. The only difference between you and your parent is that your times your experiences may be similar, but your times are different. So for them, they didn't have a lot of internet phone. Us, we grew up with it at some point. The generation that is coming, they have found them.
Yeah.
So you see, for them, that will be the difference. But every other thing, ideally, should be the same. But you see, if you don't have a relationship with your parent, it will be very difficult for you to come and approach your mom and say, Mom, let's talk about boys. Let's talk about sex. Yeah? You see, these are conversations that should start at home. These are not things that you should go finding out on the internet on your own. Because the internet will mislead you.
Yeah.
It will give you information, but it will also mislead you. Because you see, you're getting a lot of things, but they're not channeled rightly. So a relationship with a parent will work for you because the parent has already passed through all these stages and many more. When you get married, your parent is married, ideally. If they're not married, they have been in a relationship. So they have something to say about that. When you get a child, you are the product of that relationship. So you see, that is something that they are constantly growing into. So when you have a relationship with your parent, you'll be able to get the proper guidance and just be comfortable to say, hey, baby, mom, me, hey, easy, pregnancy is imenipeleka. You know, you can now, you can relate to that level while still maintaining that respect. So as you have that friendship, and this is to both parents and the child, as you have that friendship with the child, have boundaries, but don't be rigid with them because the boundaries will go changing.
They have to shift.
They have to shift because you are growing a year older. Both of you are growing a year older, but also you have to be open in that relationship. It shouldn't be one way. If the child wants to have a relationship with you, allow yourself to be a friend. If you get to best friend level, it's fine. But if not, allow yourself to be a friend. Let your child not see you as an army commander that they can't even approach. That's just sad.
I like that you mentioned how the boundaries keep shifting because the challenge sometimes is you're keeping the same boundary and this is now a 25-year-old. They're not the toddler that you had to chapa to do things. This is somebody who has a mind of their own.
Do things or shout at. This is a person who has a mind of their own. This is a person who has their own thoughts and ideas. So even you, remember, you are also at that age. So ask yourself, how are you at that age? You'll find a lot of similarity.
And another thing we're talking about, I think, with the episode I did with my mom, is that there are people who don't ever want to go back to their parents' houses because as you grew, the boundary remained the same. I'm 20 and you're still shouting at me and you're still... So now I'll be coming with my husband and with my kid and you'll still shout at me. You
still treat me as a child.
Why would I come over? And now there's also the other side of it where people are really close with their parents now, you know, where you can share everything with your mom. She understands, or with your dad and they understand. And it helps you... even as in your foundation as an adult, you feel more confident in your decisions, you know. But there's also the part where there are parents who are no longer parenting, who once you got to like 18 or 20, you're literal boys with your parents to the point where they're no longer even parenting you or directing you anymore. But I think that's a dynamic maybe we'll discuss later on as we think about relationships, why there are parents who... Either you were too strict back then, so right now you're trying to redeem yourself, so you're not being a parent anymore. You're the one who we call when we've been... Every weekend I've been calling you, telling you to meshikwa na polisi, and you bail us out all the time, and that's the end of the story.
That's a different dynamic.
Which I think we should definitely have a conversation on, but I know time has gone so much, but we'll figure that out. So in your experience with the close friends, and just particularly the the cross at the cross where I passed through the light. With the close friends that you have, how have you managed, especially as a mom, as a wife? And I know these are not things that really change your friendship.
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't, yes. But how have you managed to still keep your close friends now that you have more responsibility in your life?
First of all, hi, my friends. But no, to be more serious, my friends know I'm a very intentional person. And I try not to allow circumstances to change who I am. Just because I am a mother and I have other responsibilities doesn't mean that I can't be your friend. Ideally. So what I personally have been trying is to maintain that friendship in my seasons. It's not easy because there are some friends who feel that we are not in the same page anymore, so they start detaching. There's one specific person I know who will see this, unajua ni wewe. I see you. Yeah. So they'll start detaching because they feel like we are not in the same space anymore. But for those who get it, they know that this, whatever it is, has not changed who I am.
Yeah.
And that should carry on. Just because I'm in this season, it shouldn't mean that I'll stop being your friend anymore or tutakosa content. No, it just means that my priorities have changed a little bit, and that is also something that I forgot to mention, can make friendships fall out. When your priorities change, be it you, for example, if you're single now you're dating, or you are dating now you're married, or if you're married now you've gotten a child or two. So with that shift of priorities, some people feel we're not in the same league anymore, so they keep silent. Then before you know it,
it's done.
Yeah, inaisha. So I think I've already answered, so I don't want to talk a lot.
So for you, it's not changed much?
It's not changed much. It's just I revolve around my friendships because when you lose some, the great thing about friendships, you will lose some and you will gain others. So if you lost friends, say for example, you've moved from single to dating, if you've lost friends because you're dating, you will gain friends who are in the same dating space as you. If you lost friends because you're married, you will gain married friends. If you lost friends because you're a new mom or a new dad, you will gain parent friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you'll keep on changing as the times and the seasons go by, and also allow yourself to change with that change. Don't change who you are, but change whatever season it's in, and don't allow it also to change you too much, such that now you also start closing off people. People don't know about you. You don't hang out anymore. No, that shouldn't be the case. Yeah.
Well, that's a great note to finish the episode on. That first of all, that change is inevitable. I think, and I saw it a lot on Instagram when people say, "You've changed." Weren't we meant to? You know,
we're meant to change.
We're meant to change. We cannot remain the same people we've always been. But at the same time, your character, your personality, the things that make you Wango, the things that make me Christine, shouldn't have to change because seasons have changed in that way, you know. So thank you so much for being here. That was absolutely amazing, and I really hope that each and every one of us has at least gotten from all the episodes we did on friendship. I hope we've been able to touch on either how to cope in some areas or a professional's opinion on why certain things are happening the way they are. And I can't wait for us to talk about friendship in other years, like when we're older, and see where we are right now. Like I know for me right now, talking about close friends and how to keep them in the season I'm in right now is what I'm thinking a lot about as things continue to change. And who knows, in a few more years we could be talking about a whole different thing or a whole different stage of friendship. I'm really excited that we are ending the season this way. I can't wait to see you guys on season 2. Do not forget to follow us on Instagram at If That Makes Sense, to follow my personal page at Christine Boro. Do you have a page for your work or for just yourself? Which one would you want us to
For now, it's just myself.
Okay.
For work, it's a work in progress.
Okay.
But feel free to reach me at, it will be tagged somewhere here because of the spelling, wango.shields. I wanted to write my full name, but now somebody took it. So I had to add a Z.
Okay.
So I'll tag it here. You can also reach Christine through me. Yeah, it's been great.
It has been. But let me ask, also since you're doing private practice, can people DM you to like
Yes. You can DM me if you're trying to figure out friendships. Or just any life situation. I'm also on LinkedIn. People don't do LinkedIn anymore, but you should. I'm also on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Sheila Wango, and you can DM me there. I will try the best I can to help you in whatever circumstance.
Okay. Awesome. That's it for today's episode. See you guys on the next one. Bye.
Cheers.